Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. What's up guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert to your own research. Okay, so let's look at BTC USD on the daily. It looks like it's just overall choppy price action. And I don't think that anybody can make any conclusive You can't make any very conclusive predictions on where price is going in the short or midterm. So I'm going to set the context here, and then I'm going to go scale down to lower time frames after that. Sorry, one sec. Okay, so what did we see last March? We saw this overall kind of floor get set in kind of this December-January time period, and this area was overall support. You can see here, and price obviously dumped from this kind of 50K area to 30K. 30K became a floor, kind of this 35, 36K area became a floor, or even 37K. Price chopped around for this area, and then it traded all the way up to the former range lows, set back in January, as you can see here in April, and then dumped. Had a significant dump from that point on, and then price dumped all the way to the 30K level. And the difference between this 30K kind of floor and this February floor back in 37K was that price never made it back up to the former floor. So what do I mean by the former floor? I mean the former area of support, kind of this 36 to 38K area. This area has been support for many, got hit as support many times. And as you can see back in March, price traded up there, hit a lower high, and then it dumped further. So when we saw back in June, price never had enough strength to even make it to that lower 37K area. It never went up like this and then started dumping. It just started dumping straight away. Now we're in a situation here where price is kind of trading in a similar type of pattern that we've seen back in both March and May. The question is if it's going to reach this former floor, so meaning 28K. So is it going to go back up to 28K before dumping, or is it going to act similar to what we saw back in May, where price just kind of trades here and then it dumps lower, makes another leg down? Can't really tell you, to be frank and honest with you, and lines on a chart are not going to really help you predict what's going to happen with regards to macro, because macro is such an important part of this overall environment and market right now that I don't really think that you can determinately say where the bottom is going to be. We can give some overall ideas in the short term using technical analysis, but using technical analysis from a total macro standpoint, I don't really think that you can really do that at this point in time, given so many uncertainties and given everything else. So this is the overall context here. The question is, do we think that price is going to just start breaking down from here? It's going to look similar to kind of this May-June period where price trades here and then just makes another leg down? Or is it going to make a lower high all the way up to 28K, similar to what we saw back in the late March, early April time period? And the answer is I frankly do not know. I think there's too much uncertainty overall. As I said, I think there's macro is just too big of a factor. But I do think that personally, I'm of the opinion that we are going to hit this kind of this 28K area in the midterm. But I do have some reservations with it. My main logic for that is that this, to me, still looks like a bullish market structure on the overall 4-hour and on the daily, barely. This last high wasn't really super convincing, and I really don't want to see these 21K kind of 20 to 21K lows get taken out. But to me, this is still a bullish market structure on the daily. And the reason is, and I'll go into that more on lower time frames, is that there are higher highs and higher lows. Now, the last time we had a debatable bullish market structure was kind of this April time period. But once this low got taken out in March around 37K, that's when I sold a lot of my coins, because I really thought that at that point we were hitting a lower low, and obviously that's what happened. I would say that one very, very scary thing too about this current price action and this past price action in April was that this April high wasn't very convincing. It was really just traded barely above the former highs back in March and February, and then it broke down. Similarly, back currently in July, this late July time period, this current high, I don't really know if you can call that a high. It's traded barely above, and I wouldn't even really consider this a high personally. So that's very scary to me. And one thing I really liked that Crypto Cred said a long time ago is that highs and lows are very obvious on the chart. Like, you can very much tell what a high and a low is. Like, they stand out on the chart. This is clearly a high. This is clearly a low. And it's also important to note that highs and lows both take they take time to form. But price is fractal in the sense that, you can see these types of patterns on lower time frames. So now let's go to some lower time frames here. Okay, so this is a chart I have on the 4-hour. And as you can see with these EMAs are all these red, blue, and green lines. And this 200 EMA, this red line, is a very significant one in my opinion. This is the 200 EMA on the 4-hour. Generally speaking, if there's a large gap between price and the EMA will often act as good SR levels or around that area. So you can see back in July, price almost made it up to this EMA right around 22K, dumped, flipped above for a brief time period right here, and it acted as support briefly, and then it traded below. And this is often something that you'll see when there is a trend change, when you'll see a lot of flipping in between price and EMA. You'll see them kind of oscillate both directions. And it's important to note that these EMAs, these are bullish. And what I mean by bullish is that price is above the EMAs for the first time in many months. It was slightly bullish here, but the 200 EMA, here's a good example of what I was talking about before. This 200 EMA, this red line, there's a large gap between price and the EMA. And when price went back up in May 2022, you can see that it acted as resistance twice, once on May 31st and then again in June 6th. But anyways, right now, price is currently trading above the EMA, and this is the first time we've seen it since March. So it's been quite a while since we've seen this overall. And this 200 EMA, in my opinion, is fairly important. This is like the lagging EMA is always like the one that you really want to watch, in my opinion. And as I said, this is, in my opinion, a bullish market structure, but I think that we really need to see some sort of higher low formed. So to me, what I would like to see is, price chop around a little bit more, come back down and form a low. Really take some time here, maybe like, I don't know, a few days, 4 or 5 days or something like that, form a low here right around the 22K area, and then we can start to trade higher. At this point, if we start to see a higher low, if this is like trading like this, I think that at that point you can really consider bullish continuation. Obviously, you would wait for the 25K area to go. And that point, it would just be like kind of like a higher and higher low, clearly on the lower time frame charts. So, is this the current bottom? I don't know. These EMAs usually act as good support and resistance levels, at least on a scalping time frame. But to make a clear low, I would really like to see it trade there for a little while, a few days. Similar to what we saw back in late June, similar to what we saw back in late July, and then kind of this mid-July, and then also this early July. You can clearly see that price is taking a long time to form these lows. So similarly here, I would like to see price trade around 22K area for a few days. Would be nice to let the EMAs kind of consolidate, price to consolidate, and then we trade higher. Now, what would invalidate my overall idea? This is what. Really quickly, I did actually think that we were going to dump, and the reason is that I was looking at some of these charts back in. I actually looked at it before, back in the consolidation in May. Let's see if I can pull it up. So this is the May, June, July time period back in 2021. This is obviously the context is that price went from 60K to 30K, and then it chopped around for many months. And when you see this kind of consolidation period, right near these swing highs, you'll often see price kind of dump first and then break through it. You generally don't want to see like too much consolidation here. And obviously it depends on the context, of course. If it's a clear bullish market structure, like what we saw back in January of 2021, then you saw plenty of consolidation followed by more upside. But given the context of this being bearish, you saw consolidation here in this June 2021 after the swing high was established in May, and then a breakdown. Similarly, you saw the same area right around late July, kind of early August time period, consolidation, and then it broke down. Now, I'm not saying that like it's a total breakdown in the sense that like it went bearish or anything like that, but you saw like a pretty big dip kind of from this 42K area all the way down to this 37K area, and then price traded above. So this is similarly what I would like to see here. Oopsies. I would like to see this at this next kind of, as I said before, I would like to see price kind of form this low here, trade around the 200 EMA for a little while around the 22.5K area, and then I would like to see some strength breaking above this 25K area. This would really be decently bullish up to the 20K area for me, and this is kind of what I'm personally expecting. So what are some invalidation points for me personally? If this 22.5K area gets lost, I'm going to cut a lot of my positions. I think that 21.6K potentially is another area. Again, resistance, resistance again, and then it flips support, and now it theoretically should, it traded below again, but then it should theoretically be an area of support, in theory, around 21.5K. But again, I think there's just too much macro stuff to really consider. And absolutely will be cutting a lot more of my bags as well if this kind of 20.7K area gets lost. To me, this was the last significant low that was formed. And if this falls, then I think that we are making just a lower low. Similar to what we saw back in, remember this time period back in March where I said that if this kind of 37K area gets lost, then I think it's time just to cut a lot of stuff, just because this was the last significant low, this kind of area. And then, if this low gets taken out, then we have a lower low. And it's the same situation here. If we do have if we do see price trading below this 20.5K area, I think it's going to just be a lower low at that point. So that would be a clear invalidation area. And if that happens, then I think that kind of this 19K area would be up next. And I did say for a long time, and I still do believe that eventually price is going to hit these 17.5K areas. I think that it's just makes too much sense personally for price not to get down there at least one more time. Even if this is the macro bottom, like 16 to 17 to 18K, I do believe that price is going to test around that area at least once more. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how it's going to get there. It's maybe possible that price gets up to this 28. It's possible that price gets up to this 28K area. Maybe it trades up, and then we start to see mega dumping in Q3, early Q4 of this year, and maybe everything is just super bearish going into the fall of 2022. Price trades around here for a while, this 18 and chops. And then, price is just really between an 18 to 30K range, 35K area. I don't know what the range would look like. I don't know what this kind of macro environment is going to look like for Bitcoin, but those are kind of my overall thoughts in the sense that I do believe that 28K is coming, but I also believe that 17.5K is coming as well. The question is if 17.5K comes first or if 28K comes first. Personally, I think 28K comes first. I think that price is going to form a higher low here around 22K and then go up. But if we start to see price trading below, and especially that 20.7K area gets broken, I think it's quite likely that we're going to see the 17Ks come again pretty quickly after. So those are kind of my overall thoughts on Bitcoin right now. I actually think that Ethereum is leading, and Ethereum ETHUSD is probably the more important chart to look at. And I'll probably be looking at that chart tomorrow. But this has been long enough, so thanks guys so much for the support. Glad to be doing some videos again. Hopefully you enjoyed it.